You all are having a very good time. I hope you all are having a very good time with this uh, program, the very session which are been going on today. I thought that let me bring you to a very new concept, the concept of mindfulness. Sir, if you could kindly pin me, that will be good. Uh,
Yeah, done, sir.
okay. So today I'll just take you to a very good, I won't say a new concept, rather a concept which obviously is a very important segment for every one of us, that is mindfulness. Okay, so what actually is mindfulness, and how this mindfulness is going to help us in a work life, because the participants like you all, including me, Bhattendu sir, every one of us are in work life situations, right? So I thought that, you see, right from the beginning of the morning till the end, we cannot say that, you see, our work is completed, because as far as we are in academics and research, basically we are 24 into 7 into work. But at the same time, we also need to be very clear, rather very particular about various thought processes, the various aspects which we do in our day-to-day life, to be very mindful, and we should do justice as far as our work is concerned. So I'm just sharing you one. If you can kindly tell me in the chat if it is visible, so that I can understand.
Yes, it is visible. Visible, but
Okay.
not in presentation mode. Go for full screen.
Yeah, I actually, here is a slight problem in this thing, slideshow. If the participants are okay with it, if I may go ahead, if they
Okay.
can tell
It's
me in
fine.
the, okay, it's visible, fine. Okay, so, okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so the topic which I have taken for today's session is importance of mindfulness in work life, right? So before I go ahead, I'd like to just take you through the very concept of mindfulness. Then I would like to introduce you to the importance of mindfulness in the work-life situation. And then, of course, I'll like to take a small exercise which will definitely make you all, you see, be in the active mode, because anyways, it's a virtual session. So wherein, you see, it's not possible to see you all face to face because of some technicalities. Also, I've just been informed that so, dear friends, let us understand before we embark upon this journey of mindfulness, uh, what is the history and origin of it, right? So, to understand the term mindfulness, let us travel back in time to explore the beauty of the history of mindfulness and how it has changed and evolved over time, since it first began to be practiced at least 2,500 years ago. So this is what the history tells us about mindfulness. And mindfulness is the capacity to focus on the present moment. However, its ancient religious origins, the practice of mindfulness says that it is simply being present and living in the moment. So it embraces living a wholesome life and having loving kindness to all sentient beings. So, however, you see, many of us actually think that mindfulness practice lies in Buddhism. So, if I may ask, how many of you, if you can just use your chat box and just let me know how many of you have heard about this concept of mindfulness before? If you can kindly tell me in the chat box so that I can have a fair view that what is your idea about this very concept, mindfulness. You can use the chat box. Okay, so I can find 3 of you says no, Michael, Bernale, Lakshmiram, Sadek, Mohammad Israfil, okay, Hensnam, okay, fine. So it seems that this is a topic which definitely should be relevant to you all because you haven't been to this particular concept before. No issues. So let us understand, you see, since you do not have a fair background about mindfulness, so let me just tell you that mindfulness, many of us, you see, say for instance, academicians, be it students, be, you see, public at large, or researchers, so to say, they basically coin the mindfulness into the practice of Buddhism, okay? But the history of mindfulness actually goes much further back. So it firstly links to the yogic practices of the Hindu people, dated somewhere between, say, for instance, 2300 BC to 1500 BC in the Indus Valley. You see, in today's near modern day Pakistan. And also, mindfulness is renowned for its secularity traces. So, although it may have some, you see, background from the Hindu religion, so to say, but it actually is a secular in nature because its origins back to various religious and yogic traditions, which also have traces in the religion of Hinduism, Christianity, Muslim, Buddhism, etc. So, mindfulness, the art of living in the moment, how it is going to change us, how it is going to value add in our work activities. So this particular session, I'd just like to take you through this. Now let us understand some concepts of mindfulness as far as Buddhism is concerned, okay? Because chunk of the information, or rather the background, generally is said to have from the background of Buddhism. So the word mindfulness is derived from a Pali term which was coined in the early Buddhist teachings, sati. Okay, so in fact, Lord Buddha gave a set of instructions to meditation that became known as the Sati Pathana Sutta. Okay, or otherwise, it is also known as the Discourse on the Establishing of Mindfulness. So, the right mindfulness is one of the steps of the novel Eightfold Path, and the path of practice widely taught by Lord Buddha that would lead to awakening. Okay? So according to Buddhist philosophy, when we understand our mind and emotions better, we can develop self-regulation in workplace with our actions as well as reactions in a way that leads to well-being and happiness. That is our own and the well-being of those around us. And the more we appreciate the importance of others' well-being and happiness, the more we experience love and self-compassion. Now, you can see this particular statement that you are not your past, not your future, you are simply the present. So it is said by none other than Thich Nhat Hanh. So he is said to be the pioneer to the very concept of mindfulness. So what do we understand here? You are not your past. That means we are not our past. We are not our future, but we actually simply are what we are at the present moment. Now, from this very thing, if I may tell you, or rather you would also endorse what I'm going to ask you. For instance, you see, in our day-to-day life, whenever we are in work situation or otherwise, we are always bothered about our past. We are also concerned about our future. But how many of us really think about the right at the moment situation? And what is the implication of right at the moment situation? How many of you, if you can use the chat box, you may simply write there, how many of you are bothered about your past? You may simply say yes or no. Are you bothered about your past? Be very frank, okay? There is nothing that you see, if I know that you are not bothered about your past, then something will happen. And if you say yes, then something will happen. Let us just interact with one another and let us sink in, okay? So I can see only one, Barnali Thakuria says she is bothered about the past, but others, as of now, says that they are not bothered about their past. How many, can I get more responses, please? Please use your chat box so that I can understand that how many of you are actually active. Because the very concept of mindfulness means that you have to be right at the moment present. Okay, so majority of you, it seems that you are not bothered about your past. So if I may ask you, how many of you are concerned about your future? How many of you are concerned about your future? You may again say yes or no. Sadiq, Anupam, Michael, Hensnam, Mohammad Israfil, everybody is concerned about the future. Yes, anybody more? I can only see 6 or 7 active out of how many? 20, 21. I'm excluding myself and Professor Bhattendu from here. So if I may see only, yes, concerned. Bernali, everybody is concerned about the future. And majority of you are not concerned about your past. Only I can see Bernali is bothered about the past. Anyways, now you see, this is the very status of mind what we human beings have, right? So you are just a sample, you or me are just a sample units out of the whole universe, wherein each one of us are definitely bothered about our past and of course concerned about our future. But let me also ask you, how many of you are concerned about your present right at the moment? How many of you? How many of you? Yes, 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 yes. Okay, fine. So let us understand that how this particular present moment is going to make a difference among all of us, and why or how this mindfulness is going to benefit us. Now, before I embark upon the the practice session, which I think after some time I'll just ask you. Let us understand that as far as our workplace is concerned, which aspects basically triggers us or rather bothers us. So first point which may be taken up is obviously job satisfaction and motivation. So affective events theory that has been applied to mindfulness in the workplace by suggesting that mindfulness may be positively related to job satisfaction because mindfulness facilitates more adaptive appraisals of work stressors. So I'm just using one or two statements from previous literature that how the very concept of mindfulness is related to our day-to-day work life. So one important aspect is job satisfaction and motivation. Second point is related with work stress, that is work stress and mindfulness. So another reason why mindfulness is important is because it can help combat and manage employee stress. So stress may be of various types. Sometimes stress becomes chronic. That means it becomes unable to handle. That means beyond your capacity to handle. So chronic stress is a widespread problem as far as the society is concerned, perhaps most especially at work. So according to the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health in 1999, it was found out that almost 26% of the workers say that they are often or very often stressed at work. Okay. And the workplace stress has a significant impact, not only on individuals, but also the effectiveness of organizations. So you see, here you as the participants, if I may ask you all, that how many of you really feel stress in your work? If you may simply put yes or no. How many of you do you feel stress in your work? The stress may be any type. Okay, it may be mild stress. It may be not very serious stress, chronic stress, that is very serious stress. So I can find very honest answers some of you are giving. Bornali Thakuria says sometimes. Okay, so it's not regular as far as she's concerned. What about others? Others are saying that yes, stress is an integral part of work life. So certainly we can understand that yes, mindfulness definitely is going to give us some tips that how we can work out as far as our stress aspect is concerned. Thank you for your response. Well, workplace stress has a significant impact not only on individuals, but also the effectiveness of organizations. So we can understand that, you see, we as individuals, whenever we are at stress, that happens to be a trickle down effect to each one of us. Because if I were say for instance, a leader, right? So if I am suppose a department head and I am in a stress like situation or I am under stress, then you can easily understand that what ripple effect it may have. Obviously, it has bothered me because I am under stress. And since I'm the department head, definitely my environment will also be under stress because I'll give some of the stress inputs to each one of the members with whom I generally come in touch, be it be the faculty members, be it be my colleagues, be it be my students, be it be my research scholars, whoever. If I am under stress, so obviously I'll also act with those symptoms which are stressed out people or a stressed out person exhibits, right? So we will understand its you see its uh, benefits of through mindfulness, and obviously it's you see some of the points which ought to be taken into account, that how we can de-stress ourselves. One of the important aspect is also related with leadership development. You see, each one of us, I assume that you all are faculty members in your own right, and I do not know what extra you see positions you are handling. But definitely in your college or in your university or in your institution, apart from the role which you are having, you definitely tend to have some multiple roles. You have to handle some multiple roles, right? So obviously, whether be you are an official, so to say leader, but eventually you happen to follow up due processes or issues which actually a leader happens to do. So mindfulness can even help improve high potential development in business. So you see, in 2013, I'm just referring to some researches because when some reference is drawn, then you can understand the practicality of it rather than simply theoretical tones or connotations. So in 2013, 35% of the total spending on training in US organizations went on leadership development. However, despite these expenditures, you see, each organization, and out of it, almost 35% of the total, you see, the spending on training as far as US organization is concerned, they have spent on leadership development. However, the point which needs to be noted here is that despite this expenditure, three-quarters of all CEOs, chief executive officers, still nominate leadership development as a top business concern. So what do we understand here? That in spite of the fact that, you see, 35% of the total spending on training in US organizations went on leadership development, but still there is always you see, a felt need that such type of leadership development should be a part and parcel of an organization, right? So therefore, there is an urgent or necessary need as far as, you see, the leadership development is concerned, and the issue of mindfulness. Now, if I may, I'll just use the chat box before I go further, and I'll just give you a link. You can do one thing, you just click the link and answer the questions, whatever will be there, okay? Then we can take it up from there for further discussion. So in the chat box, I'm giving you a link. Just see whether you have got the link or not. Did you get the link? Can you tell me yes or no? Okay, yes. So I think you have got the link. Please click that link, and there will be some hardly 5 questions will be there, and you simply fill it up. Okay, you simply fill it up. You simply fill it up. Please fill up that link. We'll find the worksheet is mindfulness worksheet. It is written. If you have got it, you may please inform me whether you have got it or not, whether you are able to fill it or not. Are you all able to fill it up? You can simply mention yes. Any one or two will do. Since audio is not there, so I'll use this chat box for communication. You can simply put yes if you are able to fill up. Okay, thank you. Thank you. No issues. You please go on filling up. I just wanted to know whether you are able to fill up or not. Thank you. Please take another 5 minutes to complete it. Do not take more than 5 minutes, please. Just respond to whatever you think. Do not use more than 5 minutes because otherwise the session will be delayed. Another 3 minutes. So I have got 9 responses out of 21. Please take another 2 minutes more. Ten responses. No, don't submit to HRDC Mizoram. Just submit it there only. Vivo Y01, can you rename yourself? You have written submitted by email to HRDC Mizoram. Why should you submit by email? No need. This is a class exercise. Okay, fine. So let me just continue. I'll just get back to this, whatever you have responded after some time. Let me just take you through some of the points of mindfulness and how it is important in workplace situation, right? So what is important is creating calm and focus, understanding mindfulness in workplace. You see, most of the definitions, if we may see, say for instance, Highland, Lee, Mills, in 2015, they share 3 elements. So they say that mindfulness can be described as a present focused consciousness. Or in other words, a mindful individual is not ruminating about the past or worrying about the future. They are simply being in the here and now. Secondly, mindfulness includes paying close relation to both external as well as internal stimuli. Finally, as well as simply paying attention to stimuli, mindfulness involves doing this in an open and accepted way. So what actually we understood? We understood that mindfulness basically is not ruminating about the past or worrying about the future. It is simply being in the present, right here, right now. Secondly, mindfulness includes paying close attention to both internal as well as external stimuli. If I may ask you, since there is a problem in the voice, if I may ask you, what do you understand by internal and external stimuli? If any one or two may simply respond in the chat box. What do you understand by internal or external stimuli? You can simply mention here internal stimuli. You can give some example. External stimuli, you can give some example. Just simply give some example, if you may. Anyone can just mention it. Or rather, what is stimuli? You can respond in the chat box. What is stimuli? You can respond in the chat box. Since voice is not the voice, that microphone perhaps is not working. So what do you understand by stimuli? Can you write it in the chat box just for everybody's understanding? Anyone? Would you like to volunteer? See, I like interactive session. Otherwise, it becomes very boring if I keep on lecturing you, because you all are also very learned person. And obviously, very good. Andrew Fanai says some trigger. Very good. Very nice. Can anybody tell me more, one or two more points? Stimuli means what? Stimuli. Some trigger is absolutely okay. What else? Stimuli means some kind of trigger. Okay. Is it a revolver trigger? A cause? Okay. Okay. What else? Functional reaction. Okay. Can it be, say, boost? Can it be impetus? Can it be stimulant? Can it be spur? Right? Right? Prompt. So these are some synonym words. So here you see what we have understood is, as far as mindfulness is concerned, it is something which includes paying close attention to both internal and external stimuli. Internal stimuli is something which is within. External stimuli is something which is outside. Now, it is again a relative in nature. Now, if you use, for instance, as far as your body is concerned, and the movement inside your body, it may be an internal, and something which is outside, that means the room which you are in, it may be an external, or rather the room which you are in, you may consider it as internal, and the outside environment outside the room, it may be an external. So it again is a relative thing. And again, simply paying attention to stimuli, mindfulness involves doing this in an open and accepting way. We shall understand more about what actually we understand by open and accepting way. So mindfulness involves noticing what is happening without evaluating, analyzing, or reflecting upon it. So please pay close attention to what actually has been said. What it is said, that mindfulness involves noticing what is happening without evaluating, analyzing, or reflecting upon it. Rather, we may say it as it is non-judgmental in nature. That means you are not judging anything, right? So it is therefore said that mindful information processing is pre-conceptual. So a mindful employee, if I may consider you all as employee, because this particular session is on work life. So work life is obviously related with an employee. So a mindful employee will take in what is happening in the workplace and not react to it. Rather, simply taking in information from their surrounds, they will non-judgmentally approach their work and their reactions with other colleagues and management. Now, this is something which you might be thinking, how is it possible? Because in work-life situation, you have so many altercations. We have so many, you see, problems. while we are communicating something to someone, that someone could not understand what actually we said, and eventually we lose our temper. And sometimes matter to make it worse, when we are, you see, say for instance, we are, say for instance, organized a particular, suppose a workshop or a seminar, and you are particularly a coordinator for that particular workshop. Say like here, Professor Bhartendu sir is the coordinator of this HRDC program, FDP program, and he understands that how important is mindfulness to him, because he has to see everything is in order, right, in its, you see, existence, whatever it is, without any flaws. At the same time, he should also keep his calm and patience. Similarly, we, rather you, for instance, you are also somewhere a coordinator. Might be you have organized a workshop, a seminar sometimes, and you might have noticed that how you have lost your cool because someone who was not responsible enough. You see, you can remember those instances when you have lost your cool and sometimes have made matter bad to worse, right? And sometimes it became very embarrassing situation also, and you can easily say that you easily find it out that it was none because of your own fault, but maybe because of the surroundings to which you are also witness to. Now, other important points which are there, which we should have to keep note of. Let us see this particular figure. Here you see, can you see this in the chat box? Just say yes or no. Can you see this figure? Okay, okay. So here you see workplace havoc, a serious issue, right? So here, what type of problems we face? Stress at workplace. It may be related to your lifestyle, illness, various problems, tensions, the work itself, your mental position, your health might be not okay. Maybe you are in depression state, maybe management related problem, anxiety related issues, realizations, and the whole life itself, and obviously the workers, the end result, whether it is right, wrong. So you see, these are the various issues which generally plays a havoc when we talk about workplace, right? So I'll just go to your, you see, the work, uh, the responses which you have given. I'll just try to share that responses. I got only 13 responses. Is it visible? Just tell me yes or no. Is it visible? Okay, thank you. So these are the responses which I've got. Now let us take this practice session and relate it with our day-to-day work life, right? So here we are not taking any names. I'm just taking the question and then the responses which I have got it, right? So starting from here, please pay attention, everyone. Starting from here, the first question, name 5 things you can see right now. First response is computer, mobile, books, pen, marker. Okay. Second response, books, pen, blank paper, table and chair. Okay. Then book, mobile, chair, table, students. Okay. Okay. So then my mobile screen, book, in table, my notebook, pen. So you have one have mentioned you, sir. That means me. Slide, my laptop, mouse, mobile phone, then mobile, TV, laptop, tree, sky. Okay, somebody who is perhaps where you are, I don't know. Perhaps the TV is there, so you have mentioned TV. laptop, table lamp, mobile book, laptop, printer, books, water bottle, pen, laptop, screen, PPT, pen, copybook, chair, laptop, pen, book, window. Okay. Let us go to the second question. Second question is this. Name 4 things you can hear right now. So 4 things. First respondent said auto, that means the sound of an auto perhaps, bird, car, scooter. That means you are using the first one, you have used your eyes, okay? You have used your eyes. 5 points which you have noted, you have used your eyes. Next 4, you have used your ear. So your response is auto, bird, car, scooter, then voice of you, birds, sound, music, okay? Your voice, student's voice, car horns, bird sound, okay? Your voice, cook, crow. So one missing. I mentioned 4. So fourth respondent only mentioned 3. So here I can see your voice, fan of the left, fan of the okay, outside noise, some children playing outside, okay, lecture sound, outside, only 2. Clock, birds, human voice, aeroplane, okay, even you could hear aeroplane sound also, very nice. And what else? Birds, your voice, that means my voice, running train, okay, you are near railway, some train, perhaps railway track, perhaps might not be near station, but might be near railway track. So you have heard running train also. A door closed, okay, somebody might have banged the door from outside or inside, and you have heard that noise also. So music, PPT explanation. So I'm explaining. So that point also I've mentioned, but only 2. I've asked for 4. Some of you have mentioned all 4, but okay. Birds, kids, you silence, your words, voice of a child, sound of birds, good lectures, okay. Music, songs, points, okay. So these were the points which you have gathered from what sensory input? That is your ear, okay. Your ear, you have taken it. Now you see, this is another response which I asked you. Are you all with me? Can you just simply tell me in the chat box? Are you all with me? Yes or no? Everyone? Are you all engaged? Are you all paying attention? Very good. Thank you so much. Okay. Because the sound is not there, so obviously we have to communicate this way, right? Otherwise it becomes disengaging because I'm not able to see you and nor your sound. So you can understand the challenge which I'm facing today. But you all will sail me through, I'm sure, because you all are learned audience and you all are reciprocating and interacting also very nicely. I'm very proud of you all. So third question is, name 3 things you can physically touch right now. So immediately you have physically touched laptop, mobile, pen, book, blank paper, pen, chair, table, mobile, table, pen. Okay, almost obviously, since you all are using your mobile or laptops, obviously this is a common apparatus which you have all mentioned. Obviously, pen will be there, mouse definitely. You are using a computer, pen, then glass is also there, right? So this is immediately you have mentioned about the physical touch which you could make immediately as far as your immediate environment is concerned. So these are the 3 things, right? So let me go ahead with the fourth one. The fourth one is, name 2 things you can smell right now. The first respondent says nothing. So it cannot be nothing. Something definitely should be there. So you see, it may be good odor, it may be bad odor, okay? It may be anything, right? It may be anything which might have come to your mind. So it might be something related to you see perfume, okay? Something might be a bad odor also. Maybe a garbage bin might be there. Anyways, so I can see some other responses are like perfume and smell of food. Okay, very appetizing. Then perfume, flower, fresh air only. Okay, air in the room, some perfume. So nothing response. I got 2. Nothing. It cannot be. Maybe something should have been there. If you would like to just the one who have mentioned nothing, if you can smell something right now, can you put it in the chat box? Can you put it in the chat box? If you can smell right now something, anything. That is perfume. Okay. Previously, you did not smell anything. You didn't smell any smell, but now you could smell perfume. So very good. So, okay. Let me go ahead. Now, tea snacks. Okay. Somebody is also very lucky that he or she has got tea snacks and body spray apple. Okay. Apple, chocolate, sweets, coffee, herbs, not applicable. Why not applicable? Good sense, oil, acid. Okay. How come acid has come? Can you specify, please? One who has mentioned this acid. Name. I have asked two points which you could smell. Oil, acid. Where from did you get acid? Okay, fresh air. Prasanta Chaudhary says fresh air. So he can smell the fresh air. So that is what actually we call as mindful. See, we generally forget about our immediate environment. We are so much accustomed with our past and the future that we hardly can think about the right at the moment situation. This is what I wanted to bring in. So I'll just close with the last question. See, the last question is name one thing you can taste right now. So two of you have mentioned tea. Okay. And a cup of tea, chili. Okay, chili also you have tasted right now. Coffee, nothing. So you have tasted nothing. Omelette, okay. Sweet tea, water. What can I say? why you cannot say? Tell me who has mentioned this. What can I say? Chocolate, nothing, water. What can I say? Can you put it in the chat box? What can I say? Any confusion? If you may ask, you may put your question in the chat box. You can put your response in the chat box. Name one thing you can taste right now. Anyways, so here you see these are some of the points. Rather, it's a small exercise wherein this is known as 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 sensory inputs. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we generally do not see the immediate environment within us. Sometimes you will find that you have kept your spectacle right in your forehead and you are searching for it. You might have noticed that you have put your might be mobile phone in one of the pockets of your trousers. If your trousers have multiple pockets, then you have put it in one pocket and you were searching where is your mobile phone. You have been searching here, there, this, that, but ultimately eventually you'll find it in your pocket itself. You will find you have most of the time you have kept your keys within you. Maybe in your hand itself the keys are there, but still you are searching for your car keys or bike keys. So what does it infer? It infers that we are in stress. Whether we agree or disagree, we are in stress, right? That means we are not mindful of ourselves. So let us proceed further from here. Let us proceed further from here and then bring you back to the discussion. So the discussion, can you see the slide? Please tell me yes or no. Please don't mind. I am asking you one again and again because communication has to be there because I'm not getting an audio. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so let us proceed and then understand some more important aspects or rather significance of mindfulness at work. Now you see, one of the most important aspects of mindfulness is enhanced employee engagement. So mindfulness is also important in the workplace because it can enhance engagement and decrease burnout. It is shown that employees' investment in their jobs is associated with greater employee satisfaction, lower intention of turnover, and increased organizational citizenship behaviors. So these are from the studies the researchers have found out. Okay. Further, Coping with change. Now you see, this world is constantly changing, and the change is the only thing which is permanent. So, since change is the only constant, so here, how does mindfulness can help we the employees? It can cope with organizational change. So these days, change is a predominant feature of the workplace. And research shows that a large reason why efforts for workplace change often fail is employee resistance. So here, mindfulness can help employees cope with change. It may reduce the stress that is associated with loss of job control that often occurs with organizational change. So, what happens? See, when we are mindful of ourselves, we will never resist changes. When we are not mindful of ourselves, we will always resist changes. And we should also know that change is something which we cannot keep, or rather we cannot stop it. It has to happen, and it will happen. It is only we, how we cope ourselves, how better we equip ourselves and flow along the change or sail along the change. Another very important aspect of mindfulness is understanding one's emotions. So here, increased mindfulness is also associated with lower levels of ego defensive reactivity under threat. Please note it, ego defensive reactivity under threat, and it promotes objectivity. Mindfulness promotes objectivity. It reduces subjectivity, and it also lowers the levels of ego defensive reactivity under threat. So it can help an individual cope with change in the workplace. So what does it mean? When we are mindful, say for instance, when we are talking with our subordinates, and we are very mindful of our words, we are very mindful of our behavior, you will find the other person, maybe you will definitely appreciate some situations that which might have occurred, which you might have faced in your lifetime, especially in a workplace, wherein someone have said you something quite offensive in nature, and you have lost your cool, and you have also retaliated in the same manner, the way which the other person said you. So let me tell you, when you will be mindful in workplace, you will listen to the other person without being walked out, without reacting, right? You will simply give response, but you will not react. That is what the essence of mindfulness is all about. We shall understand about how to practice mindfulness in subsequent slides. And of course, once you understand your own emotion, automatically you will also be able to control somebody else's emotion. What does it mean? It means that if somebody is in offensive position with you and you do not react the same manner, you will find that the other person will cow down slowly. That what means that you have the ability to control the mind of the other person, right? Controlling the mind of the other person is when you will reckon yourself as a true successful leader, or rather a true successful human being. This is what the essence of mindfulness is all about. Now you see, unleashing the power of mindfulness in workplace, work overload. Now you see, we have all had the experience of being engrossed at work, yet feeling disengaged, a sense of burnout, and perhaps a bit overwhelmed. So employees are inundated with projects. Therefore, they feel a sense of demotivation to complete the allotted in due time. So this particular situation is with every one of us. Nobody can deny this, that no, I am not overloaded. I am absolutely okay. If I can get some responses from you all, how many of you really feel overloaded in your work life? You may be very honest, okay? Simply tell me, do you really feel that sometimes you feel really overloaded with work? Yes, sometimes, yes. Yes, more, please. Right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your response. See here. See, we cannot do without work. We have to take the responsibility. It is not simply going to the class, taking the class and coming back. It is a whole lot of exercise. Every one of you is responsible for some section or some added, you see, responsibilities. Some of you, if you are a doctorate, definitely if your institution has permitted you to become a guide, then you have been allotted some scholars under you. You will find that that is also another added responsibility for you, apart from the usual students who are there in your classes, be it be undergraduate, be it be postgraduate, whatever. Now, I cannot shy. I means I am including you all also. We cannot shy away from our responsibility. But at the same time, we also feel totally, you see, demotivated sometimes, and we are stressed out. You see, back home when we come, we need some me time or I time. So, for instance, me time. Me time is the best point. So, me time again, you will find if you are married, then obviously your spouse needs time with you, your children needs time with you, your parents needs time with you. How to, you see, do justice? You know yourself that how burned out or how stressed you are out of your work, from your work. Back home you are there again, you have to take up responsibilities, but we have to take it happily, we have to take it smilingly. This is what the essence is. It is not, the mindfulness do not or doesn't imply that we should shy away from our work, that we should not take more workload. No, mindfulness does not say so. Mindfulness says that, of course, give me more work, I'll be doing it, but with a smiling face, without being stressed out, without being burned out, without being overwhelmed, okay, without being demotivated. Rather, you will find rejuvenated once you go out from your work. Rather, in your workplace, you will rather would like to put extra 1 hour because you really love your workplace. Why? Because you have started practicing mindfulness. Now we shall come to that, how we practice mindfulness, because that is what the essence is all about. Let me again take you to a small study. So here a post study conducted by the UBC Soder Business School and the University of Minnesota. They have conducted one study. It was duly noted that conflicts at work can affect interpersonal relationships. So we all agree to this, that conflicts are a necessary part of our life. But what do? The conflict? They undermine an individual's behavior and harming teamwork. It also harms individual behavior and also harms teamwork. And researchers noted that mindfulness can act as a safeguard against this and ensures that the employee task rather than the person remains the focus of reactions. Please keep that in mind. What it is said, it is said that mindfulness can act as a safeguard against this what? This means interpersonal conflicts, etc. And it will ensure that the employee task rather than the person's remains the focus of reactions. That means the task should be the focus rather than the person. Often what happens whenever we are at loggerheads with our subordinates, with our colleagues, with our superiors, etc., there is a personal conflict more rather than the task in question. So actually, we are in tussle because of the task involved, not because of the person between X and Y, right? But eventually, what happens? There is a bad blood being created, because of which you are in no talking terms with your colleagues. So it can also limit the intensity of one's opposition and negative emotions, thereby limiting escalation. So sometimes what happens, our ego sets in, that what do you mean? I am also a particular person. I am also educated. I am also having these qualifications. What do you think of yourself? I also better know how to reply. So this type of points emanates in our mind, and we often try to retaliate our opposition. And this way, what happens? It escalates. It goes on escalating to a certain to that point from where we hardly could climb down and come to terms. See here, you can see this unleashing the power of mindfulness. This is a wheel. Can you see this? Please tell me in the WhatsApp group. This chat box. Okay, thank you. So see here, this is a wheel. You can see here inside this green, it is written cultivating a mindful workforce. So the outside circle is self-aware, resilient, connected, adaptable, focused. Now, what are the important aspects which needs to be taken care of is physical activity, breathing practices, visualization, savoring, intention, focus, present moment awareness, gratitude, empathy. Then compassion practice. Compassion practice, that means feeling the pain of the other person. Then move more, sit less, yoga classes, join or do yourself. Stress less practice. Thought spotting practice. Garden of the mind practice. Think yourself that your mind is full of rose garden, flowery, scented, perfumed. It is all about thinking. It's all about imagining that right at the moment you are in a garden, close your eyes and just feel that you are in a lush green meadow and flowers all around and full of perfumes, fragrance coming in. You are smelling and you are feeling rejuvenated, and you are getting, you see, greener and greener. So this is all about imagination. Then intention focus. Your intention, what actually you want, whether you really want somebody's good. If it is really so, then other things do not matter. Present moment awareness. That means agility in mind practices. Your mind should be very agile, right? Let us proceed. Now you see, don't make burnout your friend. Workload perpetual boon. Let us see a small handout. Can you see this? Can you see this? Can you see this? Thank you. Okay, fine. See here, if you are having trouble, ask yourself these questions. Whenever we recognize an anxiety-related thought, feeling, or behavior, it can be very helpful to ask ourselves the following questions. Please, you can take a snapshot also, you can note it down also. This will really help you a lot. See here, alternative thoughts. That is, what are other ways of looking at this situation? Suppose you are facing a problem. Now, whether that particular problem is really giving you stress, a moment which is difficult for you to digest, just think some alternative ways how you can look into the situation. So what are the other ways of looking at this situation? Next question is, am I looking at the whole picture? That means suppose you have got some information about someone. Okay, you have got some information about someone for which you have been very sad, you are very disheartened, and because of that very message which you have got from someone, you have made a picture of another person, that, oh, I see, I never thought that this person would be like this. But you have never cross checked, you have never cross checked whether the message which you have been fed is whether is really an authentic message, or really it is something for which the other person have is he taken you for a ride, or maybe the other person wants the person against whom he or she has given you a wrong message, wants to bring the person into a bad light in front of you. So whether you are looking at the whole picture, you have to ask yourself, what might be a more helpful way of picturing this situation? What helpful thinking styles might I be using here? What is the evidence that my thoughts are true? Is there an alternative way of thinking about this situation that is more true? How many times actually we ask ourselves questions again and again? So what is the probability that my thoughts will happen? Say most of the time we suffer for a situation which actually has not happened, or rather it 99% it will never happen, but we have imagined it, and for this we are suffering, and we almost suffer because of that particular imagination and thought. So we have to ask ourselves that what is the probability that my thoughts will ever happen, and what are the some other things that could happen that are equally, if not more, probable. So have I had any experiences in the past that suggest that this thought might not be completely true all of the time? Can I really predict the future? Is it helpful to try? What is more helpful? Ask yourself these questions. Am I exaggerating how bad the result might be? What is more realistic? So you have to be in your present, and just you have to think that, am I exaggerating too much? Am I thinking too much about the future? So can I read people's minds? What else might they be thinking, which is not very negative? Many a times we perceive that the other person might be thinking bad about me. So I become myself, I become guilty of what actually never has happened. But I presume that the other person might have noticed me in this way, that way, or might have thought me this way, that way, and we have made myself felt guilty in front of the person. Now, if a friend or loved one were in this situation and had this thought, what would I tell them? Now, let us see this common cognitive distortions. Rather, it is unhelpful thinking styles. That is all or nothing thinking, thinking in absolute black and white categories. Overgeneralizing, that is seeing a pattern based upon a single event, or being overly broad in conclusions we draw. Sometimes what happens? We take a simple cue from someone, and since we love to give it a story or make it a story, we'll make it a story and circulate it. And eventually what happens? It becomes a hot cake, or rather a hot discussion, but without any fits, without any legs, without any limbs to stand, right? Which actually do not have any locus standi, but still it goes round. Mental filter, it only paying attention to certain types of evidence, that is dwelling on the negatives. Do we always dwell on the negatives? Sometimes what happens, we do not want to see the positives. We always search the negatives, and then a person may have 90% positive, 10% negative, but we will focus on the negative 10% more than the 90% positive. We, means all human beings, generally have this tendency that we do not appreciate the good thing. We always try to depreciate or disregard for one small issues, because this gives us ego satisfaction. This gives us a mental peace, which actually is very, very catastrophic. And it is definitely not good as far as a society is concerned. Now, disqualifying the positive, that means discounting the good things they have happened. So you see, many a times what happens, we are in bad blood or we are not in good terms with our friends only because of one or two issues. But what were those good issues, good points which we most of the time cherished? Hardly we notice those things. So it's time that we bring in the positives and then inculcate the thought process of mindfulness. Another important point is jumping to conclusions. Mind reading, that is imagining we know what others are thinking. We most of the time we call ourselves, make ourselves as Nostradamus. So we are fortune teller, predicting the future. We try to, you see, lecture others, and we say that this is going to happen or that is going to happen. Eventually, nothing happens. But what happens? We stress ourselves. Next is magnificent, that is catastrophizing and minimization. So that is blowing things out of proportion or inappropriately shrinking something to make it seem less important. So as I said already, that we should emphasize on the positive more than the negative. Even though the negative might be more, still the positive might be less. Still, let us focus on the positive. You will find a totally different you emanate out of this mindful thought. Emotional reasoning is what it is, assuming because we feel a certain way, what we think must be true. So sometimes what happens, we prejudge, we are prejudiced, we want what we think to be right. I think this is right, that means no other question should bother me, no other reasoning should bother me. I know what is what, even though there is no reason, no evidence for what I say, but still I stick to my point. And eventually what happens, this is way how problem starts. So should, must thinking, that is using words like should, must, ought to, have to. So these should be taken note of. Another point is labeling, that is assigning labels to ourselves or others. So we should always avoid, say for instance, if somebody asks, how are you? So, we say so. Why so? I'm very fine. Why don't I say I am very fine? Thank you so much. I'm absolutely okay. I'm very good. Why should not we say so? In Assamese, for instance, if I may say, kene ase, bhala so motamoti soli ase, that means I'm just pulling on like that. Why pulling on? Why not you are galloping? Why not you are really, you see, enjoying your life? So this way, once we start giving reply, you will find a sort of confidence coming out of it, and you will definitely like it. So I'll just, I can see only 4 minutes left, if I may ask, because some 10 minutes lately I have just joined because of the previous session. If I may ask the coordinator to allow me another 10 minutes, if it is okay, or I'll finish it off within 5 minutes. What should I do? Can you just tell me in the chat box also? You can say me, tell me.
If participants are ready, sir, no problem, no issue.
Only 5 minutes I'll take because I have another 5 minutes. So
Okay,
I can.
okay. Then continue, sir. Continue.
Right. Thank you. So let me just conclude my discussion on mindfulness. Can you see this? Okay. So here you just see this wheel. Here you see inside we are having this type of emotions. Sometimes we are sad, we are mad, we are scared, we are joyful, we are powerful, we are peaceful. Now, when we are mad, what do? We hurt, we become hostile, we become angry, we become selfish, we become hateful, we become critical. And what is the eventual result out of it? We make people distant from ourselves. We become sarcastic, we become frustrated, we become jealous, we become irritated, we become skeptical. When we are scared, we become confused, we become rejected, we become helpless, submissive, insecure, anxious. And what is the result? We become bewildered, we become discouraged, we become insignificant, we become inadequate, we become embarrassed, we become overwhelmed. But when we become joyful, what happens? What these are the emotions which we show. When we are joyful, we become excited, we become sensuous, we become energetic, we become cheerful, we become creative, we become hopeful. And what is the result? Result is we become daring, we become fascinating, we become stimulating, we become amused, we become playful, we become optimistic, right? So similarly, when you become powerful, you become aware, you become proud, respected, appreciated, important, faithful. And what is the result? You make people surprise. You become successful, you become a worthwhile person, you become valuable, you become discerning, become confident. And when we are in peace, you are in content, you are thoughtful, you are intimate, you are loving, you are trusting, you are nurturing. And the result is relaxed, pensive, responsive, serene, secure, thankful. But if you are sad, what happens? You become guilty, you become ashamed, you become depressed, you become lonely, you become bored, you become tired. And what is the result? You become remorseful, you become stupid. In the workplace, you tend to be stupid. Your boss, you see, says you what type of stupid work you have done. You tend to be inferior. You try to make yourself isolated. You do not want to mingle with people. You become apathetic. You become sleepy. You do not like to work because you're sad. So this is a will which we all have to take note of and inculcate the sort of mindfulness which we have discussed. You see, the time is short, and I do not want to make you bored, but I'm definitely sure that I could bring back the points which I wanted to bring in. That is the importance of mindfulness. You see, mindfulness is also not only in workplace, mindfulness is also in our personal life. Mindfulness is also when we eat. Mindfulness is also when we drink. See, when we drink water, you might be noticing that most of the time you do not enjoy what you are drinking. You are simply, you see, taking the bottle and dang, 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 dang. You are just, you have, you see, put all the water inside your tummy. You have hardly tasted what actually the taste of the water is. You have emptied a whole lot of bottle in a go. But actually, it should not be the practice. Even in health sciences, it says that when you drink water, you should rather eat your water and drink your food. That is, or rather, you see, we generally what happens, we take a glass of water when we consume it at a go. But try to take a small sip, take it slowly, take your time, and then you will enjoy even your food. We have also noticed in functions, you will find that if it is a buffet system, you see, you will find people taking dish and taking all the stuff at one go, all the stuff at one go, and it becomes a small hill type of stuff in the dish. It doesn't look good in the first place. Even the person who is eating will not eat the whole stuff, and he will not enjoy each of the delicacies also. So why not take one item at a time, enjoy the taste of it, and then take next, and then take next, and then take next. And then we can easily understand that how much actually we can consume. And in this process, we'll hardly waste anything. So, anyways, with this, I'd like to conclude. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. I don't know how did you like it, but I tried my best. Thank you so much, Professor Bhattendu Singhji, for giving me this opportunity for interacting with the participants.
So this was interesting session, quite interactive also. The participants were quite busy responding to your questions. So I don't think anyone is having any question because it was a very interactive and they kept on asking and you kept on giving responses. So I think better we
Thank you. Actually,
conclude the
1.5
session.
hour time it went on in a whisker. But I'd like to engage more with the participants, and I hope they have taken something, if not everything,
Yeah.
with them. And this will give me a sort of happiness. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Others are also giving thanks. Lot of thanks coming to you. So thank
Kind of
you.
them. Kind of them. Thank you.
So thank you, sir, for sparing your time on behalf of the participants on behalf of HRDC. So thank you for giving us time. In future
Thank you.
also, if we conduct such courses, we'll certainly ask for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. Thank you.
So, dear friends, today this was the last session for today. Now, tomorrow again we'll be having 4 more sessions. The first session will be taken by a very senior professor in education. Although he is retired from Banaras Hindu University Education Department, but after that he served as Vice Chancellor of a university, and he had been in many other commanding positions in some other places. He is Professor Harikesh Singh, and will be speaking on axiology of academic integrity. Then second session will be taken by Dr. Irene Lalruat Kimi. She is Associate Professor and Head of Department of Mass Communication in Mizoram University. And she will be taking another very interesting topic, which actually we should think of, is identification or verification of fake news. Then third session, another interesting and very useful session for us, all of you being new faculty members. So you all are going to be covered under national pension system only. You are not covered under old pension system. So the third session is on national pension system, and Dr. Devendra Pratap will be taking over this session. He is Deputy Registrar Finance in IIT BHU. So he is the person who is dealing with national pension system in his institution. So if you are having any question in advance, you be ready with the questions for clarification on this issue on tomorrow 1:30 to 3 session. And then last session will be taken by a faculty member from Department of Commerce, PG DAV College, which is affiliated to Delhi University. And the topic will be foreign direct investment and make in India. So another interesting day tomorrow will be waiting for us. So join us at 10 tomorrow morning and we'll start with this. So thank you all for joining today and take care. Good night. Goodbye. See you tomorrow morning. Now you may disconnect for today, log off today and log in tomorrow again.